Hello everyone. I am Mridu Bhatnagar. I am based out of India, and currently, when I'm not programming, I'm usually giving talks. I'm a software engineer by profession, and currently I'm working on a book that I'm trying to self-publish, and that book is basically on how to self-learn Python. So. Uh, and you can find me on Twitter. There I'll be updating about the book, so that is something that I am excited to put forth in some time. So moving ahead, the topic for today's session is building a conversational bot for WhatsApp. So we'll be building a bot. Here is a sample bot, and that name of the bot is vocab bot. So this was a weekend side project that I had recently done. The features that the vocab bot has is that whenever you query this WhatsApp bot, it returns you. It can return you with the word definition. If you ask the bot for the synonym, it returns the synonyms of a given word. If you ask for antonyms, it returns antonyms. And if you ask for examples particular to a given word, then it returns you examples. So this is how the bot functions. This is a GIF that you can see right here. And for building this bot, what I used was Python, then Flask, and then Twilio API that makes it easier for to work with WhatsApp, because WhatsApp's original API is basically for the businesses. It is not really for developers to, build their projects. So you need to be a business owner to experiment with their API. So that was not possible. So that is why I ended up using Twilio. So moving ahead, in today's session, we won't be building a vocabulary bot, but this session is basically to explain how you can build a small hello world bot. And eventually, then you can gain more knowledge and convert your own bot idea into an application. So, moving ahead, what are the requirements for building such a bot? You need Python installed on your system. Then there is a need for Flask. So Flask is pip installable. So you can install Flask. Then there is ngrok. So ngrok you need to download on your systems. And this ngrok is basically used for testing the application. So our code, as you know, would be present on our laptops, but WhatsApp is installed on the mobile device. So there are two different devices. On your mobile, localhost cannot work. So it is where this ngrok helps. As soon as you start the ngrok, then it gives you a URL, and then with the help of this URL, our WhatsApp, we'll be able to send messages and receive messages on the Twilio backend. So all those things happen, and so it needs to be remembered that we are trying to interconnect two separate devices. And as our complete application is built on WhatsApp, for WhatsApp, so that is why it is important to have a phone number with active WhatsApp present on it. If there is no WhatsApp, we won't be able to build the application. Now moving ahead, the first step is you will have to create an account on Twilio. Initially, when you create your account, so Twilio provides the facility for creating a free account. So you can create that account on Twilio, and here is the link. Uh, we can just check the link out. Yeah. Okay. So whenever you click on the link, you will be shown a registration form. Okay. So when you have the registration form, you can. Is my voice clear?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay. So you need to fill this registration form. Once your registration form is accepted, Twilio gives you certain free credits. Now with this free credits, you can just build your application, do the testing of your application. WhatsApp API provided by Twilio is currently in beta and is paid. So it is here where those free credits help. Like you can build the application, test the application, convert your ideas into applications. So these are the requirements for our project. Moving ahead, next step is to configure Twilio. Now, once you have created the account, Twilio provides you, like Twilio has multiple communication products. Like you can connect with SMS, you can use WhatsApp, there are email products as well, and there are multiple products that Twilio has. So now from their console, what you have to do is search for WhatsApp and then go on to its console. So here is the link for doing that, and I won't be able to demonstrate my console because on the console it does provide the API credentials. So API credentials need to be secret. So what you can do in fact is you can just go on to the link, create your account, and then check out by going on. Once you have logged in, you would be able to see the console. So you can then see the console. Uh, I'll check if I can. Just a second. Okay, I am unable to put this up in chat. Otherwise, I would have shared it. Post the session, I'll share my presentation. So you can just, if you have already logged in on Twilio, even you can create an account on twilio.com directly and just go on to WhatsApp. So you would be able to see a console. The console looks like this. This is your screen. You need to open your mobile phones and save the number that you see on left hand side. So for every user, this number might be different. So this is just for demonstration purpose. Whatever number is there on your console, you need to save that number. And to connect your WhatsApp with Twilio, you need to send a joining code. So the code is join followed by your code. This would make the connection between between WhatsApp and Twilio. So this is the first part of the connection that is being made here. So all these APIs are paid, so you need to remember that you don't share your joining code with anyone. Otherwise, these can be misused. So make sure that only you are using these joining codes. Now, next thing is, as soon as you will save this number on your mobile phone, this contact should appear in your WhatsApp. So once you have saved it, the contact will appear on your WhatsApp. So you can give any name to it. I just gave a name vocab bot, but at the moment we are not building the vocab bot, so you can just name it hello world bot or hello bot. So now the name can be anything, and it is here where you will be sending and receiving the messages. So we are going to communicate with this contact number that we have recently saved on our mobile phones. Okay, the next step then is to create a Python virtual environment. I did tell you that these are the things that we need to install. The question is, how do we install? So following Python best practices, virtual environment is a good way to go. Virtual environment creates an isolated environment, and instead of installing all the packages globally, it installs packages in an isolated environment so that there is no conflict with versions of different packages. So you need to install everything in virtual environment. Now we'll see how to create a virtual environment first. So if you are a Mac or a Linux user, these are the following commands that you should write. Uh, Actually, I think someone's mic is open. I can hear some noise from the background.
I just muted them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next step is mkdir WhatsApp bot. So mkdir stands for make directory. You need to create a directory on your system, and then you can name it anything of your choice. I gave it a name WhatsApp bot. Now you need to go into that directory. For going into that directory, you need to type cd. Cd is change directory. Then we'll try to create the virtual environment. The virtual environment is an isolated environment. So then I am doing Python -m when WhatsApp bot. WhatsApp bot is name of the virtual environment, while when is the package. So you need to first make sure that when is present on your systems. And then the next step is you will activate your virtual environment. So for activating your virtual environment, we do source WhatsApp bot bin activate. So that is how you activate your virtual environment. Now, how will you know that whether the virtual environment is activated or not? So for verifying it, you will be able to see that on the left hand side of your shell, you will be able to see the name of the virtual environment. So this is name of your virtual environment. And then here you can type pip install. Pips is the Python package manager. It helps in installing all the packages that are not built in Python. So here we'll be needing Twilio's package. So you need to do pip install Twilio. Now other packages that are written here, request flask python.n, these need to be installed on need only basis. If you are building an application that requires you to install request, then you need to install request. If flask is needed, then you install flask. And if python.env is needed, then you need to install python.env. Now, at the moment for our current application, we won't be requiring request and python.env. Both of them are not needed. All we need is Flask at the moment. Okay, and the purpose of having Flask at the moment is creating an endpoint. So there needs to be an endpoint where we are receiving the message and from where we are sending the messages back. That is the purpose of endpoint. In Twilio's language, it is your webhook. You create the webhook. And python.env is also not needed, but python.env package is basically a really good utility package. It is used to save all your secret keys. So when you are building an application, secret keys need to be hidden from everyone, from others. This is something that should not be visible to others. So python.env helps you in keeping those things a secret. Moving ahead, if same installations need to be done by a just a second, my system has yeah. So if the same installation need to be done by a Windows user, so some commands are different, but ideally same things are happening. So you will first create a directory WhatsApp bot, then change the directory WhatsApp bot, then you create a virtual environment and then install the dependencies. So for activating the virtual environment, the command in Windows is different. The command name is WhatsApp bot scripts activate. So this thing needs to be taken care of. If you end up using commands interchangeably in Linux and Windows, then obviously you will get errors while writing. So couple of things need to be taken care of. And now we come on to the next step. So our setup is completely ready. We have all the installations in place, and now we are going to write the actual chatbot service. Now by chatbot service, I mean that here we would be writing the logic of our application that will help the user to send a message and that will help for Twilio to send the message back, to receive the message and send a new message back. So how that communication is taking place. Now, I'm just giving a very brief introduction to Flask, not even an introduction, it is just a very brief that Flask is basically a micro web framework of Python. So we are using Flask here because all I needed to do was to create an endpoint. I am not developing a full-fledged web application, or the requirements are not as heavy to use Django. So all I needed to do was to create a endpoint and send a post request call. So that is why I'm just choosing Flask. So here you can see on line number 1, we are doing from Flask import Flask. Flask is the class here. We are initializing the class. And Flask is the module that you have pip installed initially. So that is what the first one and two lines tell us. And then we are creating an endpoint and sending a post request. So how we are sending the post request, we'll check out later. At the moment, all we are doing is defining this thing and then leaving our method as blank. What logic we write here, we'll see in the coming slides. And then as this is just a script and like we don't have to import it anywhere, in the same file I am writing if name is equal to main app.run. So this is double equal to, it is appearing like equal to because of the tool that I am using for writing this code snippet. So this is not single equal to, like this is not an assignment operator, right? And moving ahead, let us see how the communication is taking place. Uh, Also, mistakenly, here I haven't imported request. So this request in the brown that you see here, that also needs to be imported from Flask itself. So the statement should be something like from Flask import Flask comma request. Okay, so here it is dev hello world. So it is our initial function that we defined in the previous slide. And now we are just trying to receive the message that the user is sending on WhatsApp. So to receive that message, you have to do request dot values dot get, and the key is body, and what which also means that whatever value is corresponding to the key body, we are trying to fetch this and convert it into lowercase. So we are just fetching the message whatever the user is sending on WhatsApp. So request.values.get, all of this is Flask built in. Here there is no logic. We are just retrieving the uh, message. So that is our incoming message. And now that we have the incoming message, the next step is for Twilio to send the response back. Now, how will Twilio send the response? So now response needs to be sent in a language that is readable by humans, which means that the message sent should be in plain English. We don't really want the user to send something that is only understandable by developer. So we don't want it to send something that is like XML or JSON or anything of developer terminology, and we want it in plain English. So we'll be using the Twilio package. So Twilio has a TwiML API. It is very well documented and is present on their official website. You will be able to find all the methods in their official website when you have a look. So the next step is we create an object and initialize a class messaging response. Messaging response is already a part of Twilio. Now for sending the message, I do response.message. This response.message is also a built-in method. And then this and here then I create a message object. Next step is what would be the reply. So now I want to send the response as I need to append the standard hello plus the incoming message. So if the incoming message is word, I will append the word hello in front of the incoming message. Okay, so this is a meaningless statement at the moment, but while you are trying to convert your ideas into applications, you can just build creative and interesting ideas just like that vocab bot that I had built. So this is just for the demonstration purpose. And then in the end, all we have to do is str and response so that a string response is sent back to WhatsApp. So what the end user reads is again a string. So that is what our function here is doing. So this was just a hello world application that can be built with Twilio, and eventually you can increase the complexity of your application. Also, if you want to check out, you can check out blogs on Twilio's official website, There are pretty interesting ideas and wide variety of applications that are being built using their APIs. And the standard format of Twilio's response is an XML. Okay, so this is a sample XML, and that body key is this. This is the body key, and it is like this is some random message that store location and all. But this message is can be anything, any message that you are sending that can be put up here. Message can be put up inside of the message key that is present here. If you want to send a media file, then you can use the media key. So everything related to their document, everything related to the API is present in their documentation. Also, we need specific methods that are present in their API, because on WhatsApp, we don't want to send this XML. XML is something that is not understood by everyone. So it needs to be just string. So that is how our communication is basically taking place. And then all you have to do is run your application. So you open your terminal and do python app.py. And on one terminal, you would have your application running. Now, as I had initially told, that our WhatsApp is on mobile phone, our code is running on the laptop. So there needs to be some connection between both the devices. So here you will be using ngrok. So for ngrok, go inside of the directory where your ngrok is downloaded. And then after unzipping it, all you have to do is run ngrok at port 5000. Port 5000 because your application is also running at port 5000. So just make sure that both the things are running on the same port. So now all of our setup is done. Now you are all set to test the application. You will have to run ngrok on a different terminal. So there will be ideally two terminals, or you can split your terminal, and then there would be two things running. And your ngrok terminal would look something like this, where you will have to copy your forwarding URL. Everyone will have some different forwarding URL. So you need to then just copy this forwarding URL. This is a replacement for localhost. And then you will just copy this URL and then again go to the Twilio console and then put that URL inside of the field that you see here. So on the Twilio console, you would be seeing something as sandbox configuration. And inside of the sandbox configuration, you will have to put in your URL. So now once you put the URL here, then after putting the complete URL, in the last, just append the endpoint that you had for your file. So, and then you will have to save this complete URL. Now, once all of this is done, then only testing part is left. Now you will have to just send a message from your WhatsApp and see what is the response that your bot is returning. So this is just a very trivial hello world application. And I haven't gone into building a complex application because in a one-way kind of a session, it is difficult to explain each and every step. So once you have a basic idea of how an application is built, you can convert your ideas. So what we discussed is a way to send static messages. The message response was fixed. Another way to do it was to send dynamic response. Like I was doing for any random word, I was returning some kind of a definition. I was returning the definition of the word. So when you have to send dynamic responses, you can use publicly available APIs. So there are a lot of interesting APIs available online, and you can use these APIs and fetch the message on WhatsApp. And one of the interesting APIs that I find is, just a second, this one is a fun API. And the fun API, I will tell you how it looks like. So here is a idea. https http.cat. Yeah. Okay. So here is a cool API, and what this API does it explains the meaning of each and every status code and its meaning. So it is 502. It is returning bad gateway, and if you give here 200, it will return okay and a cute cat picture again. And if I do 404, you can see the cat has got hidden and it is saying not found. So this is a fun API. Now what you can do is, instead of seeing all the responses on your web browser, you can just do API integration of this using Python and get all of these messages on your WhatsApp instead of the browser. So this is one of the project ideas that you can explore. And the only prerequisite knowledge is you must know that how to integrate the API. And then you can follow how Twilio, whatever I explained in the session today. So through this way, you will be able to see dynamic messages. And then if you want, you can integrate it with GitHub API. Suppose every time your pull request is getting merged, you can figure out a way so that you receive a notification. Or if someone is commenting on your WhatsApp, if someone is commenting on your pull request, you must be able to get the notification. Now, to explore these kinds of ideas and how to configure it onto your API, you will have to explore the GitHub API, that what all possibilities are there. Likewise, you can use Twitter API to do the same. So APIs is something that you integrate, either integrate the existing ones, or you can create your own APIs for doing this stuff. So that is how you send the dynamic responses. And we are at the last step of the whole session. And this is just an overview in case someone needs to brush up that how to integrate the API. So all you will have to do is install the request library. It is the HTTP library uh, for interacting with the APIs. And now you can just do request.get to fetch the response, and then you will receive this response in RESP keyword that I have used. So request is can be used for integrating your API. So this is a very simple thing to integrate the API. And now all the pieces that I explained in this session, you can just combine all of that knowledge and then build a complete application on your own. And in the end, I have attached the link to the resources. So if you are interested in reading about how the vocabulary bot was built, you can go on to this link. There is a tutorial that I had written. So this step by step gives an explanation on how the vocabulary bot was built. So this is one thing. If you are interested in exploring Flask further, you can check out their documentation. And if you are if you want to explore that what all public APIs are available and what all ideas you can work on, so you can just have a look at public APIs. So this is a very comprehensive list that someone has created on their GitHub. So you can just check those out. So these are the things that I had for today, and thank you so much for having me. I'm open to questions if there are any regarding the session.
Thank you so much. That was an awesome presentation.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? If yes, then please speak up now or drop your question in the Zoom chat.
I have a question. By the way, thank you for the talk. It was really interesting. I was curious about in Twilio, what other integrations are there?
Okay.
Like WhatsApp, what other platforms we can?
I haven't explored all of their APIs, but two of the APIs that I have worked with is WhatsApp And then there is SMS API. So like we were sending messages on WhatsApp, same messages can be sent on through SMS. And mostly I think commercially the idea fits in for all the customer care purposes, that all those workflows can be automated using their APIs.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions?
Noted anymore.
No? Okay. As I said in the beginning, the recording will be posted to meetup.com tomorrow. And again, if you would like to win a ticket to Write the Docs virtual, there's a link in the Zoom chat. Please just drop in your email and name. Again, if you would like to speak at a future PyLadies London meetup, please reach out to us at london@pyladies.com. Other than that, stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope to see you again soon, either on the next Zoom or in person. Yes, we will also post the link for the tutorial if you can email it to me, Mridu.
Yeah, sure. I'll just email the complete presentation to you.
Awesome. Cool.
All right.
Have a nice evening, everyone, and see you all soon.